I recently got an interesting comment on this video. To be honest, I was a bit baffled that people still think this way. And it said, you'd start with noise? You'd think you start with the drug cartels, kidnaps, and murders. Noise, LOL. And this comment really got me thinking. Are comments like this actually about safety in Mexico? Or is it just noise? Maybe there's something deeper that we need to unpack. Hey, I'm McCrae, a Canadian expat living in Mexico. I share about expat life, travel, and everything along the way. That comment makes me really want to talk about what it's really like living in Mexico. Is it as dangerous as people say? Or is Mexico being unfairly painted as a no-go zone? First, let's talk about the noise. We've all seen the headlines, cartel this, kidnapping that. If you watch the news, you'd think stepping off the plane in Mexico would put you in immediate danger. But here's the reality. Most of us that live here don't experience that. Saying that, there are places in Mexico where crime is an issue, and there are dangerous incidents that do make headlines. But Mexico is huge. It's like judging the United States by the worst parts of Detroit or Chicago. The majority of people here live normal lives. They go to work and raise their families without fearing for their lives. I'm not saying cartels aren't real. They are. And yes, they operate in some parts of Mexico, but the truth is, unless you're involved in their business or activity, you're very unlikely to cross paths with them. They're not targeting everyday regular people or tourists. For example, Cancun and Riviera Maya, they're hugely populated tourist areas with millions of visitors every year. Sure, there's cartel activity in the region, but it's mostly behind the scenes. Tourists aren't their priority. Money is. Okay, so if Mexico has its risks, why do I live here? It's simple. The life, the culture, and the people. The cost of living is great, and the food is amazing. And the quality of life is better than anything I experienced. I don't ignore the risks. I stay informed, I avoid certain areas, and try to use common sense. But let me tell you, life here is a million times better than those exaggerated stories that people talk about or comment about. For me and many others that live here, the reward outweighs the risk. Now, if you're thinking about moving to Mexico, these are the things you can do to stay safe. Number 1, research the areas you're going to. Every state and city is different. Number 2, if you're worried, stick to well-traveled areas and avoid wandering at night. Number 3, listen to locals. They'll tell you where to avoid. Number 4, and my most important point, is trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. So is Mexico dangerous? Yes and no. Like anywhere, it has its risks, but most of the time it's just noise. Don't let fear hold you back from experiencing this incredible country. Have you ever been to Mexico? What's your take on safety here? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe and check out my related videos on living in Mexico.